my colleagues are paddling for the Peace up on the Peace River today.
Yay!
I couldn't go with them. My schedule didn't allow for all the travel to get up there. So when I heard about this, I was like, I can still paddle for the Peace. This is great. So in my caucus, in my party, this is something that's been we've been talking about for a really long time, and I want to just take a second to acknowledge that a particular individual has done a lot of work internally within our party to get particularly John Horgan, not just as leader, but when he was the critic for energy, to get him on side with keeping the peace and not supporting SiteC Dam. And his name is Brian Churchill. He was living in the Peace for a very long time, but now lives in Creston. And he's actually the president of the Nelson Creston NDP Constituency Association now. And I wanted to just acknowledge Brian's tremendous work, because it was year after year and his persistent advocacy for saying no to SiteC Dam that really brought a key person on side. And internally, we were like, okay, well, we're going to say no to SiteC Dam, but we have to start the conversation with British Columbians about what alternatives are there, right? It's not okay to flood 80,000 hectares of agricultural land. And if we need the energy for the future, and we don't right now, and I'm not going to get into a long energy conversation because it's fun and geeky, as I love that, but the point is that what are better ways that we can be generating electricity in a renewable way here in British Columbia? And we came up with a plan called Power BC. If we were in charge and if we had $9 billion, what would we do? And that program has been in my office window since November. I've written a little bit about it in my monthly columns, but you can swing by any time or Google it, powerbc.ca. And basically the points are, let's start retrofitting provincial buildings so that they're energy efficient. The province owns massive amounts of infrastructure, and particularly buildings, that are not energy efficient at all. So how can we do that? In that way we create jobs in our community as well. What about doing renewable energy programs that are maybe small in scale, but they're in community? So looking at things like Nelson Hydro's solar garden. Think about something like that throughout all of British Columbia, using wind and solar as those technologies become more available and more affordable. How can we do that across the province? So, and looking at existing infrastructure that's not being used to full capacity. Mica Dam, which is in our Columbia Basin and part of the Columbia River Treaty, is a case in point. And so we would want to be able to increase the generating power on Mica Dam. My advocacy will ultimately be for Duncan Dam, which is a dam that's producing no electricity at all right now. But how can we use our existing infrastructure rather than going to what is a 1953 solution to a 2016 problem?
Yeah!
So I am really stoked to be a part of a group of people within my party who have been pushing for that and will continue to push for that. And if we're government come next May at 8 o'clock, May 9th, 2017, then our plan is to, I mean, it's precarious right now because Christy's driving. She is full steam ahead on pushing so that SiteC, so that nobody can go back, right? Whether it's through the contract or the total destruction of the land. Right now they've been clearing the land. Land can be remediated. If they don't get further than that, we're going to go through the BC Utilities Commission, like should have been done from the beginning, and or anything that BC Hydro does should be going through the BC Utilities Commission. We will go through the BC Utilities Commission, and we will work to end SiteC, and we will work on a new 2016, a solution to our energy needs that are actually in this century.
Yes.
So that's where we're at. That's where things are at. There's a lot of questions, a lot of things up in the air, but our desire is to keep the Peace where it is, running free, to stop the SiteC Dam, and hopefully we'll have the ability and the opportunity to do that after 8 o'clock on May 9th,
BC Utilities Commission!
Yes! Yay! So thanks very much everybody for being here. I'm looking forward to paddling with all of you. and paddling for the peace. I'm really glad that we get to do that in solidarity here in the Kootenays. So thank you very much. Thanks, Sandra.
So I just took a video.